All right, the day has come. Well, technically, last night I watched this, rewatched for the fucking millionth time. Day has come. I finally pulled the trigger. When I first started this channel, I said to myself that I'm going, and I've said this on the channel once or twice, that I didn't want to dive into like the huge, like big horror films like of all time, like The Omen and Psycho and The Shining and Halloween and all those types of movies, like just like the huge classics of the genre. Because like, what can you say about them at this point? Like, that hasn't been said already so many times, and thousands, millions of times. But it's my channel. I get to say whatever the fuck I want and my opinions and feelings and stuff. So that's when I did the Evil Dead franchise. That was like the first big like franchise I covered, and immediately got a lot of views on it. Like, not a lot, but I mean, like, compared to like my other videos and stuff so far in the last month of doing the channel, like within like a night, like by the morning when I woke up, it was like fucking like 12 views, like, and like up to 20 something now. Like, it just went real fast for Evil Dead 1 and stuff. So like, just doing popular, like the big horror classics and everything is so hard. But this is my favorite horror film of all time. Like 1,000,000% of all time favorite horror movie. John Carpenter's The Thing, 1982. And just like this movie's reputation and impact that it had. Like, when this movie came out, like, it was panned by like everybody, by critics, by people who went to see the movie, like most people. Like, it was considered just a complete failure. And I really would like to know what the fuck was wrong with all those people. Like, I really do. Like, seriously, like, this is a bomb. This is a failure. What movies did they consider in the horror genre that were classics then? Like, I really want to know, like, inside the minds of these people, and these critics especially, who were panning this movie and everything when it first came out. But like most true classics, as the years go on, it gets reappraised and reaches a wider audience, and more people see it, and they start looking back on it and everything, and it's now regarded one of the greatest horror films of all time. And like I said, for me, it is. And there are so many people I know also that this is their favorite film of all time in this genre. And then not even in horror. Like, this is like my favorite film of all time almost. Like, absolutely in the top 3. Like, I would really have to like rack my brain to think of a top 3 like all-time favorite films ever. But this is absolutely in the top 3. Without a doubt. This movie is perfection to me in every single way. Every character is so memorable. Every fucking shot, every frame, the practical effects, like, Jesus, like, I'll just spend fucking 20 minutes on that alone. This is gonna be a long video, guys, so I'm letting people know right up front. This is, I mean, this is John Carpenter's The Thing. This is the fucking thing. Like, how do you not just like spend forever talking about it? Like, it's gonna be 10 hours, strap in. Fucking be fucking so long. And watch this turn out like one of the shorter reviews I ever do. Like, my favorite movie of all time. Like, that would be some ironic shit. Especially just doing like fucking Castle Freak for 40 minutes. Like, this turns up as like 25 minutes. Who knows? But just the reputation and the cultural impact this movie has had since the years of its release. And this is coming from Carpenter, who's like, in his first film, Halloween, is also like one of the greatest horror films of all time. And was one of the biggest, and still is one of the biggest independent films ever made. Like, God, man, Carpenter, like, there's nothing you can say about John Carpenter. Like, he's an absolute fucking genius in every way. Like, it's unreal the career this guy's had, and for damn good reason why he's considered one of the greatest, if not number one on most people's lists of horror directors of all time. He's just absolutely brilliant. Everything that this man does. Like, maybe like his last few films and stuff. But that's so common with many directors. Just look at Argento. And like his stuff like past like the 90s and everything. Like his Dracula movie and like all like his last like films that he's done and stuff. Like I'd say like maybe after like Stockholm Syndrome is when that was like his last like great movie for Argento. But so many directors do that. I guess they just run out of great ideas, or just get burnt out, or it just becomes more about the money at that point and less about like, you know, artistic integrity and just like creativeness and wanting to make something special. And I don't know, like I don't know like how that works for most directors and filmmakers, but it's very common. Now, the score in this movie is excellent too, and I've heard people say they don't care for the score in this and that but it's fucking Ennio Morricone, like really, like just the main theme of the dun 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 dun, like dude, that fits so well with this movie. Like, come on, seriously, the score is brilliant in this movie, and one of the few times back then that Carpenter didn't do the score himself, which I think is interesting. That like, especially like as this movie was coming together and stuff, and he was seeing everything come together so well, and seeing the practical effects and like all the effects work in this movie, and like I don't know why he didn't decide to do the score himself. But we have the title card ripping out of the screen, like just like the creature rips out of the host that it's in, what's imitating and stuff. We just get John Carpenter's The Thing, and the fucking just rips out of the fucking screen after we see like the UFO pass Earth and everything like that. So good, dude. Just from the title screen alone, like this movie is fucking brilliant. And the entire opening scene with the dog just is immediately putting so many thoughts in your head and piquing your interest. Like, why are these guys flying a helicopter shooting at this dog? Like, what is this dog? Like, what the hell did it do that these people are fucking trying to kill this thing? They're throwing fucking like thermite charges or fucking like dynamite or whatever the fuck, like explosives down to try to explode this dog apart. Like, what the fuck did this thing actually like do and stuff? And immediately your mind starts going through all those thoughts and everything. Like, what is happening? Like, and of course, I mean, if you saw this movie for the first time, like going in completely blind, especially then, like if you've seen this movie and stuff after hearing so much about it and stuff, you know that the basic plot, that there's a thing, and so just the name alone, you could put the two and two together and say like, maybe that's the thing, it's a dog. Like, but like, oh, what a great opening, man. And just like all the exterior shots and everything, I think they filmed those in like Alaska and like somewhere else, but just, dude, you can feel like this is a cold movie. Like, every time I rewatch this movie, which is several times a year, I just want to turn the heat up and like snuggle under a blanket. Like, fucking, this movie is cold. Like, you can feel it coming, like radiating off the screen. Like, just that too. Like, the fucking, you can feel the cold just from looking at it. It's like a fucking acid trip. It's like you look at something, but I feel it too. Like, fucking like, that's so awesome. That's so well done. And just all the characters in this movie. I mean, obviously Kurt Russell is MacReady. It's like, what the hell can you say about him? Like, he's just like a borderline, if not full-on drunk in this whole situation. These people have been here for we don't even know how long, but we're assuming a pretty ass long time that they've been at this whole fucking, I don't even know, like compound and stuff in Antarctica. Like, it seems like they've been there a long time. And Windows is calling on the radio, trying to get people and stuff like that to answer. And like, so it seems like they've been there for a decent amount of time, like months and months and months, at least, if not more. But like McCready, like a drunk almost and stuff, but still he has everyone's respect. Like, people still like have respect for him. Like, he's a stand-up guy and everything, and just like, everything about him. And then we have Clark and stuff, and his love for the dogs, and he's such a kind person and everything. Like, Windows is like this pretend, like, big shot. He tries to act like at certain points in the movie, but like when shit hits the fan, he's the biggest pussy there is. Like, he's scared out of his fucking mind during this movie. I mean, they all are, but like him especially. Like, he's like real crazy. Like, he gets the shit scared out of him during these crazy scenes and stuff that happen in this movie. And then like Bennings is just like a chill fucking dude, man, and like just such a lovable character. And Knowles, and just like always enjoying himself and always having fun, and like he seems like he's having a blast there, like being stuck in this place. Like, he seems like the only one. Like, and then Palmer, and like he just doesn't give a shit. Like, and he's just like total like the slacker of the group and everything. But like he still comes out with funny shit, and he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy too. Like, he's a pretty intelligent person, but he just doesn't give a shit about anything. And then fucking Fuchs is just being like the scientific person who helps Blair and everything, and like tries figuring out after Blair goes crazy, like what's actually going on, and going through Blair's notes and coming up with theories and everything for how this thing works, and how it can take another life form on, and how just a tiny bit of this organism can like, dude, just everything about this. And Childs, like, what do you say about Childs? He's Keith David. I fucking like love Keith David, and so many things he's done. He's such a great actor. But like him, just like that, he's just a badass. Like, and like if this was me, like if I was one of the people in this situation and stuff, when Gary gives up command and says like, you guys would feel comfortable with somebody else in charge, like, I don't know. Like, I'm torn between McCready and Childs. Like, I might give it to Childs. Like, I might have Childs be it, but he is very, like he said, like McCready says, he's ill-tempered. Like, he's like he can go either way with his temper and stuff. So probably, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I would go with McCready too. But like, just his whole fucking character and everything of Childs, and fucking Norris is like the brains of the fucking operation and everything. And like how, like when they go and find the UFO and everything, the spacecraft and the ice. And he's like, and they're asking like, how long has this been here and everything? And he's looking around, and just, he could tell just by, like the depth of the ice and everything like that, and the way it looks and stuff, like how long it's been there and everything. Like the pure brains of like everybody there. And he plays it very well, like a brainiac, but not like over the top brainiac, like that you just be like, this fucking nerdy motherfucker. Like, no, he's just like a normal guy, but he's just smart as shit, and he knows what he's talking about. And then Blair, and like how he's the only one who knows what's actually happening at the beginning of this, and like with his analysis and his computer program and everything. Like, it just, oh god, man, this is gonna be long, guys. I didn't even get to the fucking movie yet, really. It's 15 minutes and almost. And then Gary, too, is just like a nice old guy, man. And he's just trying his best to, like, like take care of and, like, lead these people. And then, especially when everything starts going down and stuff, like, he's still trying his best. But then, like, he even can't handle it, and ends up giving control over to McCready and stuff. Like, there's just and Copper and the doctor and everything. Like, everybody. There's not a bad performance in this movie. Not a single one. All excellent. And I'll be using the words excellent and perfect and genius dozens of times throughout this fucking video here. And the whole scene with the Norwegian camp and stuff, and them and McCready and Copper just going through and everything, and seeing the axe in the wall, and seeing the guy who slit his wrist and everything, and then finding the fucking creature and shit, like finding the hole in the ice, and they bring it back, and and then we get our first shot of the thing, like we get our first glimpse of what this could possibly be, and it looks amazing. Like the whole way, like with the double face and stuff like that, and then just like totally distorted, and then he's going through and doing like an autopsy, the doctor, and he's saying that like it has all human organs and everything, and that whole scene of him dissecting it and everything like that, and just the way the prop looks and everything, like it's just slathered in fucking like fake blood and fucking mayonnaise and fucking like any gooey, sticky, disgusting substance you can think of. It's fucking all over this movie. Like, absolutely amazing. And like even Knowles and Palmer's relationship, that they're roommates and stuff, and like, and it shows too, like how long they've been there, because fucking Palmer, like they're watching a show on TV, and he's like, I know how this one ends already, and he like takes it out and pops another one in. Like they've been watching the same shit over and over again. Like, so they, like I said, they've been here a long time. Like, this is fucking like cabin fever territory of like being stuck in a compound in the fucking freezing snow of Antarctica. Why can't I fucking say this word, bro? Antarctica. All right, we got it. We're good. We can move on. Antarctica. Fuck you. I'm not even saying it again. And yeah, like their relationship and stuff, just being in roommates and stuff. And then as soon as he pops in the DVD, the new VHS in and stuff, and they're watching another show, and he just lights that big ass joint up, and Knowles immediately just puts his hand over and stuff, like like you know that they have like this chill relationship with each other. Like, just everybody in this movie. The entire fucking dog scene in the cage. Like, the whole thing, like, it's absolutely amazing. With Clark bringing the dog into the cage and stuff like that with all the other dogs, and like the thing dog, like, just like kind of creeps his way in there, like he's like it's analyzed, like it's intelligent, like it's analyzing the other dogs for like who should I, take over. Like, that's how I always look at it. Like, it's like, like, which one of these pathetic little life forms should I start impersonating off the bat here? And just everything about this scene, man, with the fucking, the fucking tentacle type things coming out of the dog and grabbing the other dog. And then you hear the dogs going crazy and barking and everything. And fucking Clark comes over and he looks in and the fucking dog's head splits open and the fucking noodle tongue tentacle thing shooting out of its face, like his ripped apart face, and then he goes and gets the rest of them, and fucking McCready and the whole gang come over and stuff, and with the flamethrower and stuff, and he's looking in, and just we have the dog with the sound that this thing makes. The sound design in this movie is perfect. The fucking everything, like, in this whole scene, like the special effects, the practical effects in this movie. And I'll take this time here to fucking talk about it. Rob Bottin is a fucking genius. Like, just straight up. There's no other way to describe this man. He is an absolute genius. And it blows my mind that he was only 21, 22 years old, something like that, working on this movie. Man, like, Jesus Christ, man. And you can see it, like, just... He was working like 12, 18-hour days on all the effects and stuff like that for 7 days a week for like the entire filming of this movie. Like, they had to treat him for exhaustion like multiple times. Like, dude, that's such a dedication, and like just everything about the effects in this movie. Like, even to today, like, I think they look perfect. They're the greatest practical effects in a film ever. For me, like 100%. Anyone mentions practical effects and what the best ones are, what film, The Thing, immediately. It's not even a question. Like, it's not even an argument. I won't hear anything about it. Like, It's this fucking movie. There's nothing better out there with better practical effects that still hold up to this day. It does not look dated to me one bit. It doesn't. Like, it still looks absolutely unreal, the effects in this movie, compared to anything that's come before or since it. Like, everything about it. All the effect scenes in this movie are perfection. Perfection. Like, absolute state-of-the-art fucking practical effects work. And nothing comes close. Like, nothing. Like, I can't think of a single movie that would come anywhere near this movie when it comes to effects like that. And then, like, when Childs come and everything, and the score during, like, the music and stuff during that scene. And then when Childs comes with the other flamethrower and stuff, and they open the gate, and and we have the dog fucking with the huge-ass arms come out of it and stuff, and break through the boards and stuff in the ceiling, and pulls itself up. And then McCready's telling Childs to torch it and stuff. And even Childs, man, with how, like, you know, like, of a tough guy he is and everything like that, and full of himself like that, is in disbelief of what he's seeing. Like, and you see, like, the bloom effect of, like, it looks like a flower blooming coming out and stuff, like, towards him and everything, and, like, that's finally when he snaps out of it and he's able to fucking torch this thing. But, like, even him just standing there and stuff, it's like, this is something the mind cannot comprehend. Like, what we're seeing right now. It's like, absolutely. Like, nobody would be able to see what they're seeing and going through that experience and be able to comprehend it. Like, it's very Lovecraft in a way. Like, it's like just all his work dealing with just these creatures and fucking great ones and stuff like that are so, their forms are so inexplicable and undescribable to the human mind, because we just couldn't comprehend it. And like that, same thing here. Like, oh god, it's so good, man. Like, just straight up, like I said, perfection. Okay. And then the whole scene with dissecting the dog and stuff like that, and Blair, like, going around with it and stuff, and like, I've seen this, like, discussed and stuff, and just to streamline this video and not make this, like, last for, like, fucking hours, like I definitely can make it go for, like, talking about this movie, I'm purposely omitting, like, theories on, like, the progression of the Thing's takeover and who it gets to first and, like, works its way down the line and everything like that, because that's a whole nother discussion and stuff. Like, I'll make another video, like, soon, like, just exploring all of that and my opinions on it and everything, because this would go on forever. Like, it would. Like, I can talk about this movie all day long. I can start the camera at 6 in the morning and then it'll be fucking, like, 1 in the morning the next day and I'll still be talking about this movie. Like seriously, no not being hyperbolic, like, not exaggerating one bit. I can talk about this movie whenever, wherever, all day long. Like, it's absolute perfection. And him putting his pencil on the dog thing corpse and stuff like that. But, like, I don't know, and then he puts it to his mouth, and people think that, like, that's when he was, you know, taken over and stuff, that he touched it and then touched it to his mouth. But, like, I don't know, every time I rewatch it, I specifically look at that. And it doesn't look like he really touched it. Like, it's like you can see the shadow of the pencil almost. That, like, he came, like, really, like, close to it, but he didn't touch it exactly. So I don't know. Like, that's something I've always heard about in theories and stuff like that for the progression of who gets taken over by the Thing. But, like I said, I'll leave that for a whole nother video because way too long. And just him dissecting it and everything and explaining and stuff that, like, these parts here, this isn't dog. Like, this was trying to perfectly imitate one of the dogs. And just, like, oh, just the acting and the scene, like, it is brilliant. It's absolutely amazing. And just seeing, like, their reactions and stuff of what he's saying and, like, how they're trying to all comprehend this as much as they can in their minds of what they're dealing with. Oh my God, dude. And we have Blair saying to Clark and stuff, and when they're medicating the rest of the dogs and everything like that, and him saying, like, how long were you alone with that dog? And he's like, why, what are you getting at? And stuff. And he's like, it's probably nothing and stuff. But it's, yeah, dude, like, Blair is the only one that truly understands what they're dealing with here, like, from the get-go. And just that whole scene, that scene is so tense, too. Like, with him just, like, asking them questions. And then as soon as he gets to the line with, you know, how long were you with that dog? And just, like, oh, like, the tension you can feel, like, between them and stuff like that. So good. And the shots of the spacecraft and the ice and everything when they go and check it out after they see the video of the Norwegians with the thermite charges blowing the ice apart and everything. And they look up the location and they fly out there to see the spacecraft and stuff. Like, awesome. Like, every fucking scene in this movie is perfection. Every shot is perfection. Every frame is perfection. The sound design, perfect. The fucking score, perfect. The fucking acting, perfect. The practical effects, the greatest of all time. The lighting, perfect. Like, the script, perfect. Like, anything else that I missed that goes into the cinematography, anything else that can go into the process of filmmaking is absolute genius in this film. It's absolute perfection. Like, I won't hear anything else about it. Like, like, it's closed for discussion for me like 20 years ago. Like, when did I first see the thing? 13 years old. I remember exactly. I was 13. I'm 33 now. 20 years. This has been my favorite horror film of all time. Nothing has come close. Nothing. Like, no film has come close to what this movie does for me and what this movie truly means to me. Like, I love this movie. Oh, God, man. Like, I can't even describe it. It's just pure gushiness is coming out of me just talking about this movie, if you can't tell already. Like, and you know, it's a huge thing of mine on my channel of tearing little things apart and making, like, funny little observations and stuff like that. There is nothing in this movie that I can do that with. Like, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even just out of respect for the film. If there was, I won't say it. I won't make those observations. Like, that's how serious I am with this movie. Like, it's unreal that a film like this was made. And to the quality that it is. And this film will stand the test of time. Forever. Like, as long as we have film and a way to view it, before this whole world inevitably just crumbles apart on itself and we all fucking go extinct. Like, maybe it'll be the same situation. Maybe it'll be a thing from outer space that comes down and wipes the whole planet out. Something's happening, because this world is not good, man, and it's going downhill every fucking day now for like decades. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe the thing is the answer. Maybe it's not the problem. Maybe it's what we need. Maybe we need the thing in our lives. And we have windows when oh no, wait. So let me go back here, because yeah, talking. I didn't even need to really take notes for this, but just like keep my brain on track and not go gushing all over the place and fucking like. That's the only reason I even took notes for this movie, because unneeded, like 100%. But Blair's computer and stuff, like when he's doing the work on his computer program, and like I don't know what computer program was like that back then, and like I just said I wasn't going to criticize anything, but that's a little like, yeah, like back in '82 or something like that. Well, I say something like that because they started filming before that and everything, but like late '70s, early '80s and stuff, they had a very specific program like that. Maybe, I don't know, but his little computer program and stuff saying the percentage of the people there in the group being infected is 75%. Like one or more people that are infected already or taken over. And then this whole thing of if it got out, then it would be 27,000 hours, which is roughly like 3 days. It would take over the entire population of the planet. That's fucking terrifying. That is so scary. If you really think about that. 3 days. How long is 3 days for you? Like, you go out partying for a weekend and stuff like that. Fucking Friday, by the time that weekend party's over Sunday night, it's not like the world's gone. Like, by the next morning. Like, that's fucking insane. But then, like, what would it do then? Like, would it, like, once it's taken over everything, then what? Like, does it just chill out on a beach, like in our planet, and just just like hang out and enjoy itself and like pat itself on the back? Like, good shit, man, you took over another planet. Because I mean, we can assume, and because in Fuchs and the next scene when him and Mac are in the chopper and stuff, and he's going over Blair's notes to Mac and saying, reading everything that Blair wrote and stuff, saying that it could have taken over 1 million species on 1 million different planets and stuff like that. And it sure could have. Like, because I've heard it discussed so many times and stuff, like how did it know how to fly a plane, a UFO, a spacecraft. And it most likely, like 99%, has been taking over different life forms across the universe, across the galaxies, like wherever it came from. And was able to just assimilate into somebody, into a pilot or whatever, an extraterrestrial pilot, and able to fly their spacecraft and stuff. Or they had samples of this thing on the spacecraft, these other extraterrestrials flying this craft, and they crashed into Earth, and it released the thing that, like, little, let's say they had the organism in little test tubes or some shit like that, and they crashed, which led that to crashing and getting released and stuff, and then took over the pilots and stuff. And then when they opened up, and when they blew up the ice and everything, the Norwegians, and they basically freed it and stuff, is when it was able to wake up again and do its thing, pun intended. And like, there's so many things that you can just go down a rabbit hole with this movie with. And then we have like Bennings says to Windows to go get the keys from Gary. And this is another thing that's brought up a lot, like later with the Sabotaged blood. And we know that he gets the keys from Gary, because when he comes back, Windows, into the room where Bennings was, and we see that Bennings is being taken over, Windows is in shock, and you hear him drop keys. Like, you can hear it. Like, even with subtitles on, it says keys drop and stuff like that. So he had the keys, but he dropped them. So anybody literally could have picked it up. And like I said, I'm not getting into like the whole progression of who gets taken over and everything, but like at that point, just from what we see in the movie, is that later on and stuff, like it had to have been either Palmer or Norris or Blair. Either three of those. So either Norris, Palmer, or Blair had to have picked those keys up and sabotaged the blood. And it's again, just another thing thrown in there just for you to think about. And just for you to like wonder, and just like, oh man, I don't know what else to say. The shots of Bennings in the snow and stuff, with like the claw hand that hasn't, the only part that didn't assimilate yet and everything, and just the sound, dude, the sound that the thing makes in that scene when he's just with the claw and he just, yeah, I'm not even gonna try to impersonate it after failing to impersonate it. But fucking, oh dude, the sound, and again, the sound design is just fucking perfect. It's just brilliant. Everything. It's just, I can't stop gushing over this movie. I'm gonna get gush all over you guys through the camera. I'm gonna gush all over you. Fucking, this fucking movie just puts me in such a mood for like days after watching it. It's like I am the happiest fucker in the world after watching this movie every single time. and then like Blair's entire like fucking breakdown that he has and everything, and just with the fucking him just taking the axe and stuff and just smashing all the equipment up and everything and saying like, you think those things wanted to be a dog? A dog couldn't make it 10,000 miles in the cold and stuff. That thing wanted to be us. Oh, the way he delivers those lines, man. It's fucking it's just so good, so good. And then they come in and rush him and stuff, and they lock him in the fucking little, whatever the fuck that is, like outhouse and stuff like that, and because he's just too far gone at that point and everything. And then later, when fucking, like, when McCready comes to check on him, there's a noose just hanging there, and he's saying, like, I'm all right now. Like, you can let me out. Like, I want to come back inside. Like, please, I want to come back inside. I'm totally fine. And he's saying all this with a fucking noose hanging from the ceiling. Like, oh, that's so great, man. Then, like I said, then they see the blood bags and stuff. And like I said, either Norris, Palmer, or Blair could have done that. Which means that the Thing is intelligent enough, after hearing Copper, the doctor, say that that's the test that they can possibly do, is smart enough to know that it might work, or it will work, and to try to stop it from happening. Which is another fascinating thing, and which leads me to an even more fascinating thing about this movie, is how, like, do they know that they're the Thing? When they're the Thing. Like when Norris is the Thing. Before we get my greatest scene in film history, pretty much. But like, does he know that he's the Thing? Or are they just not aware at all? Because it is a perfect imitation. So it imitates every cell in your body, every electrical impulse in the brain, like everything. So it has your same personality, your memories, the way you speak, everything. So do they know? Or do they don't know that they're the Thing? Because during the blood test scene, and this leads some more like thoughts to be had on this discussion, is that when Windows is looking at his blood about to be tested, he looks fucking scared. Like he looks afraid that he might be the Thing. And then when it shows he's not and stuff, like he sighs and stuff, like he's relieved. And the same thing, Knowles does the same thing. So it's like, do they know? Or are they completely oblivious to it until like their body just starts ripping apart and stuff when the Thing's outed and it starts doing what it has to do to survive? Like I said, there's so many just questions and just things, and that's just another brilliant thing with this movie, is that there's no need for exposition. There's no need for an explanation. There's no need for how the rules of this thing works, or how this organism takes people over, or where it came from, or anything about it. Just what we see in the film is all we need. Like, there's nothing more that could have been added to explain anything or anything. Just leave it as an ambiguous and just mystery and just like making you just think in every possible way and have a million thoughts and interpretations. It's, oh God, man, this fucking movie. And the whole concept of just extreme paranoia. Like, these people are paranoid to the extreme throughout this movie. And I don't think I've ever seen paranoia, fucking that topic and concept, explored so well as in this film. Like, seriously. Like, just like the whole idea, and like I said, who knows how long they've been there. Like, you can even argue that this is all like a shared delusion. Like, this isn't even happening. Like, this is just a group of people that have been stuck inside in freezing fucking terrain for so long and got so paranoid and just cabin fever and just totally are losing their minds. And that they're just willing to, they don't trust a fucking single soul. And like, this is all just like group delusion or something. Like, you can argue that way. I'm not saying, I don't think that's how it is at all, but like, you could make that argument, which is it's fascinating, man. And thinking McCready's The Thing, like with the whole scene, like finding when Noel says that he found his shredded clothing and everything. And earlier, fucking McCready mixed the tape and stuff in case none of them survive and stuff, and is saying, and then he rewinds what he's saying and everything. And then after he ends the recording, he adds, like, also, I think that when it takes you over, it shreds through your clothes and everything. And then Knowles finds his McCready's clothing and stuff with his name on it that's been shredded. Does that mean that he's the Thing and stuff? But no, because he does the blood test on himself. But then who knows? Did he take his own blood? Did someone else do? Like, could he have faked that? Possibly. Which, it's more to the point that this thing is intelligent, man. And just like, but then he even says, like, after the Knowles cuts him loose, and he comes in through the storage window and everything, and starts then with the dynamite, and says, anyone comes near me, I'm gonna blow this whole fucking compound apart. Like, I'm taking you all with me. And like, he even says, like, nobody considered that somebody could have just taken these and his clothes and stuck them up the fucking furnace or whatever like that. Like, just the way, the paranoia and everything of everybody in this group, that no one trusts anybody, and just the way that it's portrayed and the way that it's implemented and the way it's explored and everything. Oh my God, man. It's just, everything about this movie is perfection for me. Like 100%. Like everything. And then we have my greatest scene ever in film. Like, ever. Absolutely. My favorite scene in film. Anytime that this scene comes on, I mean, the whole movie and stuff, anytime, like, if I'm watching it with someone who's never seen it before and they take their cell phone out or something, I will immediately shut that shit down. I will say, yeah, give me your fucking phone. Like, no, not happening. You were fucking keeping your eyes glued on this screen for the entire time. But, like, especially during, like, the practical effects scenes and stuff, but this scene especially. Anytime I rewatch this movie, and I'm talking anytime, my phone is not in my hands. There is nothing distracting me. My eyes are glued to the screen, and I cannot take my eyes off of it. Because the effects in this scene are phenomenal, are absolutely fucking brilliant. The whole scene, the way it plays out, it's like a fucking orgasm, dude. Like, every time watching this scene, it's like, I'm afraid I'm gonna cream my pants. Like, it's like, it's just amazing. When we just have fucking Norris, who just we saw earlier that he was getting pains in his chest and stuff, and he just has a heart attack during everything that's going on, and the yelling and arguing with Mac and stuff and the rest of the group, and they bring him into the fucking in the room and stuff with a defibrillator, and then just clear, and he's fine, and clear again, and fucking Cobra's hands just go right through the chest cavity, and the teeth that fucking come down and rip his fucking arms off, and you see him in the air with the stubs, and then they actually use the double amputee for that with a mask of the actor over his face, and that's how they got that shot. It was just using an amputee that was missing both his arms, and like, that is fucking genius, just like to do it that way and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know how many other ways there would be to get that shot, but I don't know, do I ask Savini or fucking Botine or something? I'm sure they'll figure something out besides that. But like, just the clever use of that, and then just the tentacles and green shit and everything, just like, and the table fucking just shaking and thudding and stuff, and then the tentacles just coming out of the chest and everything like that, and then it just sprays up, and it's just, and then they get a look at it and stuff, and it's just like Norris's fucking face on the fucking on the thing with the fucking, just the crazy fucking like legs and shit like coming out of it, and the noise that it's making, and Everything is perfection in this scene. And at the same time, like, they're looking up at this thing and freaking the fuck out. And then Norris's head and stuff, how it just starts fucking stretching, and then the tendons are ripping, and the skin's ripping apart, and the green shit under it, and even with the small little detail of the fucking yellow bubbles that, like, bubble out of his neck while it's being ripped off, and then, like, sags down the back of the table, and fucking, and his mouth is moving around and stuff, like, for them to even be able to control the mouth and stuff like that, like, behind the, you know, out of view and everything like that, as it's being ripped apart and dripping, falling slowly to the ground, and then, like, oh, Jesus, man, come on. How does anyone out there not put this film at, like, the top of the fucking food chain? Like, this is it. Like, this is the horror masterpiece. Like, this is the best of all time. Like, anyone I meet who doesn't like this movie but is a huge horror fan, and I always say you're entitled to your opinion and everything, I would have so many questions. Like, a lot. Like, I would have a million questions for this person of, like, everything. Of, like, all right, like, please explain this to me. Like, please explain why you don't like this movie. Like, please. Like, you have to explain yourself. Like, like I said, entitled to your opinion 100%, but you got fucking explaining to do. Lucy. And then just everything else in that scene. And then they're fucking torching the thing coming out of Norris's chest and everything. And it's all on fire and stuff. And then the head with the fucking tongue that shoots out. And then it fucking inches its way fucking, like, on the floor and stuff behind the desk. And then you have the spider fucking... the legs grow out of the fucking head and the eyes come out and we get the spider head, and there's no fucking reason to not have that as my fucking icon on this channel and stuff. Of course it's gonna be that. It's the fucking spider head, because this is my favorite fucking film, like, of all time in the genre. And like I said, probably of all time. Like, there's no way The Thing was not going to be the profile picture or whatever for this channel when I made it. Like, 1000%. And the way they did that and stuff, and just with it was a reverse shot and stuff, and with the legs coming out and everything. And then we get the line that I've said in the Hatchet series when I was covering that and stuff, and how overused this line is in all of film. You gotta be fucking kidding me and stuff. But even in this movie, it's iconic, and it's the only, like, one of the only films that it doesn't bother me hearing that line for the millionth time, like, with every film that uses that fucking line. And just Palmer turns around and stuff, and I've always looked at that too and dissected that. Like, he's the first one to look around and see that there's a piece of this thing still. Like, they didn't get it all. They didn't torch it just with Norris's body. And he's the first one to look around, even though he's also the Thing at that point. You know what I mean? Like, so, like, he draws attention to itself. So does this thing work together, like, with itself as, like, a whole organism? Or, like, once part of the thing or a piece of the organism takes over multiple people or hosts or whatever you want to call it, do they all act out of their own self-preservation, and they're like their own little units and stuff, and they're no longer part of the whole? But then again, when they do the blood scene and stuff, like, and the blood escapes and jumps out of the fucking the dish, the petri dish and stuff like that, and they scurry around and stuff, so they're being attacked, and they're like, there's so many different ways that you can just analyze everything in this movie. And they torture them. You gotta be fucking kidding. And McCready torches the spider head, and even when it's on fire, I was just like fucking line with the voice of the thing and everything, the sound it makes, and dude, that whole scene, greatest scene in the history of film for me, like, without a doubt, like, without a doubt. And then right after that, we get the blood scene, like, the two greatest scenes right one after the other, which is insane. It's absolutely insane, man. And just the tension, man, in that scene of just not knowing which one of these things, which one of these people is the thing at this point again. And just the way that it's shot, man, and just like the same with the last scene and stuff, like with the lighting and stuff, just with Carpenter getting the lighting perfect and how much of each like shot to show and everything to like make it look as realistic as possible, and like to not overshow a certain shot so that you start seeing exactly like how it was made and that it's an effect and everything, and the lighting and stuff on it to like make sure that, like, again, like the same thing, that it doesn't make it look too bright or it doesn't make it look too dark, or like it's just perfect, like perfection, right? That's the word for the day today on Sesame Street, is perfection. Perfect. Like, that is the word of the day here on Sesame Street. Fucking perfection, man. And the fucking whole blood scene, and like, oh god, man. And yeah, I mentioned that before already, but like the tension in that scene is incredible. Like, it really is. And then like I love how they have, like, when Clark comes up to him, like, before they all get tied up and everything, and he's like, let's listen to what Max says and stuff like that. And then he tries, like, rushing him with, like, the fucking, like, razor blade or scalpel or whatever it looks like. And he's immediately shot dead, like, right in the head shot. Like, Mac ain't fucking around at this point. And then we get later on when he tests Clark's blood and stuff, and Child says to him, he's like, oh, so Childs was human. Well, that makes you a murderer. And that was a great move too, like Kurt Russell starring in this movie. Everyone loves Kurt Russell. Everyone loves fucking McCready's character. But just even to throw that in, that he's a murderer for killing an innocent person, a person who wasn't infected and stuff, and not completely glorifying him throughout the whole film, like just adding that little line in of him being a murderer. But yet you still don't give a shit. Because if that was you in that position, I would have done the exact same fucking thing. Are you serious? This person starts charging at you about to fucking try to kill you. My first thought is, he's the thing. Fucking shoot him dead. Fucking like, no hesitation, just like Matt. Like, no hesitation whatsoever. And just the way that they go around and they're showing everyone's faces and stuff. And like I said, do you know that you're the thing or not? And so you see Knowles, and you see fucking Windows and stuff, like real scared before their blood's tested. And then they're like sighs of relief and everything. Like, oh God, man, this movie. And I always thought it was interesting the way that Windows, like, takes his own blood, that like he has his thumb here, but he slits it like from behind, kind of, and the blood starts coming out. Like, that was kind of like a way of like trying to like cast suspicion that he's the thing and that he's like cutting himself weird or something like that. Like, I don't know, like it reminds me kind of like The Faculty, when what's her name, the queen fucking thing or whatever, the girl, I forget her name, but the blonde chick, the really cute one, and she when they're sniffing the fucking drug that Josh Hartnett's character makes and everything to test themselves and stuff like that, and she fucking goes and sniffs it and stuff like that, but then you find out later she screwed the fucking bottom of the pen and she didn't really snort anything. Like, it reminds me of that kind of. Like, ever since The Faculty came out and I saw that, like, that reminded me of this scene with Windows and stuff, and just the weird way he cuts his thumb. Like, the rest you see, like, the ones that they show, like Knowles and stuff like that, like, you see his thumb get caught, his thumb get cut. Windows does it in such a weird way that it's, like, trying to make you think that, like, it's Windows. And then just McCready tests, and let me show you what I already know, and tests himself, and he's fine. And, and then just having them object and stuff, and Gary saying this doesn't prove anything, and Child saying this is ridiculous, and like, everything about that scene is so well done with building tension and just making you feel uneasy about everybody in this group. and suspect everybody and don't know who to think is taking over at this point. Like, I'm sure, like, first time seeing this movie and stuff, like, it even crossed my mind, like, half of them are gonna be the fucking thing, and we're gonna get a fucking bloodbath right here, and we do, but, like, I'm thinking, like, it could be half these people at this point. It could be fucking all of them. Like we don't know. Like, and the way that all of that is played together with the paranoia too, and just everything is absolutely brilliant. And then he says he's going to save Gary for last and stuff because he was the only one to get to the keys, to get to the blood and everything, which we know that Windows had the keys and dropped them, so it could have been any of them that were taken over at that point. But then he does Palmer's blood, and then just, this scene too, man. It's just, with him, the couch that the child, Gary, and then Palmer are strapped to. And his body starts shaking and everything, and then just his face just coming apart and fucking like ready to explode, and the eyes coming out of its face, and then the head ripping open and stuff like that, and then fucking flying up to the ceiling and everything, and then Windows going to try to fucking torture him and everything, and it falls right in front of Windows, standing up in front of him. And the only thing that Windows can do in that situation, he can't comprehend what he's seeing. He's looking at this thing with its face split open like this, like a fucking Venus flytrap. And he can't do shit in that moment. Like, he's in shock. And he just gets his face bitten by the thing. And it's fucking, like, the hands are assimilating into each other and stuff, and he's just lifting him up and stuff, and his body's flailing around and stuff. Oh, dude, like, just how they did all this is unreal to me. It's like, this is impossible. Like, that this all came together as perfectly as it did. And just, I can't praise the effects enough. I can't praise Bottin enough for the practical effects work in this movie. Like, this movie is the reason that I don't like CGI. It can work, yeah, like, it's good. Like, I don't mind it in certain situations if it's done well, if it's handled right. I don't mind it if, hold on one second. I don't mind it if it's used to touch up practical effects, like add a little bit of CG and stuff like that. But, like, I'm huge for, like, in horror and stuff, like, practical effects is the way to go. To this day. 100%. Like, any way you can find to make any horror film, even ghost films and stuff like that, that whole subgenre of hauntings, possession, and stuff like that, really goes, like, the CGI route and stuff, because it's a lot more convenient and stuff, and a lot easier to do. But still, I feel like everyone should try using practical effects to as much of an extent as they can. And then if they need to touch it up with CG and stuff, then they can do that. But, like, I can't praise the effects in this movie enough. Like, seriously. And him just flopping him around and everything, and tossing him to the side, and then McCready torching him, the thing, and stuff like that. And even while it's on fire, the face is still, like, opening and closing and everything, and it breaks through the wall and falls in the snow, and he throws the dynamite to it and everything. Oh, God, man. Like, yeah, we're, like, at the hour mark here. We're almost done, though, so, hey, this is nowhere near as long as I thought it would be, so. And like I said, it's John fucking Carpenter's The Fucking Thing. What do you expect? This isn't going to be a fucking 15-minute conversation or discussion, I'll tell you that. I could have told you that way before I even decided doing this movie, like, covering it today. Like, there's no way, like, absolutely no way that this is going to be a short fucking video. And I ain't putting, like I do with some of my videos and stuff, the longer ones and stuff, I'll put chapters in and stuff like that. Fuck you. I'm not putting chapters in. If you love the thing and you want to hear fucking my thoughts and everything and break this film down and discuss it and everything, you're sitting through the whole thing. There's no shortcuts. There's no fucking little click buttons that you can just skip ahead. No, fuck you. If you want to hear about a certain thing, you got to watch the whole thing or skip through it. Do whatever you got to do. That's it. There's no chapters being added to this. Again, oh, God, dude. And And then windows and stuff in the corner, and they're freaking out about him coming back to life and everything, and they torch him and put him down. But then, like, it leads to, like, the blood that's scattered away, it's scattered away. Like bugs. So, like, that blood, those pieces of the thing, of the organism, could still be in the compound somewhere, which can lead to the ending, which I'll get to, obviously, but, like, that plays a part, too, of who's possibly the thing at the end. And the whole, like, Blair, this is, like, the only thing maybe I can nitpick about this movie. Like, and I don't even care. Like, really, when I watch it, it does not matter. But just, like, the whole Blair, like, mini spacecraft thing that he made with, like, the parts and stuff from the chopper and, like, the other stuff around and everything like that, is a little silly, but like when did he have the time to do that, and like the knowledge to do that and everything, to make a spacecraft from helicopter parts and stuff like that? But then again, like I said, we don't know how many times that this thing has assimilated with other extraterrestrial species or planets, and, you know, took people over and absorbed that knowledge and stuff. So, like, it can be easily explained away. It's just a little silly, like a little bit. Like, the only thing I can nitpick about this film, it's just like every time I see it, it's just like, that's a little weird. Like, but then again, this is a science fiction movie. This is a science fiction horror film. So I mean, like, how many science fiction movies do you see that adhere to logic in every way? It's like, they don't. So, I mean, easily explained away. Like, but tiny little nitpick. And then them going around, it's just this fucking Gary, Blair, who's missing and stuff, and Childs goes off and he's missing, but you have Knowles and fucking Gary and McCready go around just torching the whole fucking camp and blowing it all up to bring the temperature up and stuff, so it doesn't freeze to death. So it doesn't go freeze again, and then wait for the rescue team so that it can get out of there and fucking infect the rest of the world and everything. And just that whole fucking sequence of them destroying and blowing up the whole camp and stuff, it's awesome, so good. And then when they finally, like, get down to the bunker, the furnace room, and they are gonna set up the dynamite and everything to blow the place sky high and stuff, and then, you know, Blair sneak up on Gary and start assimilating him with his fucking hand and just puts it on his mouth and it starts sucking in and stuff. That reminds me of, well, not reminds me, I saw this first and stuff, but when I saw Society, Brian Yuzna's Society, instantly, like, that last scene and stuff, which I won't spoil for people who haven't seen it, but, like, you know what I'm talking about if you've seen Society and stuff, like, that whole ending and stuff like that reminds me of the way his hand, like, assimilates into his face and everything, like, they're stuck together and stuff. So cool. Such a cool little effect after, like, all the effects we've seen in this movie and everything. What a fucking effect that is. And then Knowles is killed and stuff and disappears, and we have the ending thing, incarnation and stuff, how it comes fucking ripping through the floorboards, through the floor and everything, and then just coming out of the ground, man, and it has the fucking, like, the face like that. It looks like a fucking T-Rex almost, and like, then the fucking dog head bursting out of the chest and everything, and just, oh, it looks so good. It looks so fucking good. And then we get just McCready's fucking line, and it's an iconic line at this point. Like, everybody knows, like, in the horror genre, who's a fan of this movie. Yeah, fuck you too, and throws the dynamite, and like, oh, so good, man. It's so fucking good. Like, this movie is so perfect. If you can't feel the love coming through the screen at you right now, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Like, I don't know where your mind is at, fucking. Like, seriously. And then we have the whole ending, and who's the thing? Childs comes, says that he got lost in the storm looking for Blair. And, like, we see Blair, you know, assimilate with Gary and everything, so he's in that area. But Childs just says that he went looking for him, that he thought he saw him and then went looking for him. So it's not like he followed him or like could have followed him to exactly where he was, like where the rest of them were. He went out and got lost in the storm. And I've seen so many videos and stuff over the years, and like I said, I'm not going to get into this in this video. I'll make a specific video for all theories and stuff that I have and my personal thoughts on all these theories and stuff. But, you know, of the jacket and stuff that they show a shot of hanging on the hook and stuff, and that it's because it rips through your clothes when it takes you over, and that Childs was wearing a different jacket, and then the whole thing with McCready giving him the drink, and that it has gasoline in it. And that's why he smiles, laughs and stuff, McCready at the end after Childs takes the sip, because that makes him know that he's the thing and stuff, or that Childs has no breath coming out of his mouth, leading people to think that. Like, I'll get into it in another video. I can't. This is already over an hour, but all of that, the whole ending and stuff, and the way I love looking at it, even if it's not what it is that they're both the thing, and that the world is fucked. I don't know, it just fits my beliefs and my fucking, the way I think and everything like that, and like my favor towards grim endings and stuff like that. Like, I mean, even if they're not both the thing and stuff, even if one of them is, or none of them, I mean, they're dead, like they're still gonna die. So it's still a grim ending and stuff, but just the whole thought of the ending being that they're fucked and like humanity's fucked. Like they are both the thing, or one of them is, it's going to take the other one over. The rescue team is going to come and the whole world is going to be gone in 3 days. It is so terrifying. And that is so fucking creepy and scary and fucking just mind-bending. The first time you finish this movie and you have a million questions, every question I brought up in this hour-long video, running through your head. Like, this film sticks with you immensely afterwards. It sticks with almost everyone who watches this movie, whether they like it or not, especially the people who love this film. And it sticks with time, because it is still relevant today, and it is still regarded as one of the greatest horror films of all time. And it's no mystery. Like, it's for goddamn good reasons. Everything in this movie is perfect. The directing is perfect. Carpenter is just unreal. Like I said, every shot, every frame, the sound design, the score, the practical effects, the lighting, the acting, the set pieces and everything, the exterior shots, the cinematography, everything about this movie is perfect. Straight perfection. As I said, the word of the day on Sesame Street today is perfection. And that is exactly what this movie is for me. And I'm sure it's the same way for all of you thing lovers out there also, who put this as your highest rated horror movie of all time, which I know there are so many out there. Like, an insane amount of people out there, horror fans, that this is their #1 movie. And what a fucking movie, man. It's an experience. Every time you rewatch this movie, it's just an absolute experience. It's not even like watching a film. It's like you're there with them in this situation. And you're just taken for a ride that you'll never fucking forget. And I think that's a good way of ending this here. Fucking not as long as I thought it would be. Like, I'm being fucking honest here. Like, I thought this would hit like the 2-hour mark, really. Like, and that's why I purposely took. If I started getting into all the theories and like unanswered questions and stuff like that, absolutely. Like, this would be a fucking 2.5 hour long video. But purposely, why I omitted most of that, because I'll make a separate video soon. Like maybe even this week, I don't know. I got a lot of movies planned for the rest of the week and stuff, but finally did it, man. I finally knocked out my favorite horror film of all time. Carpenter is an absolute mastermind. And Halloween is another one of my favorite horror movies of all time. To have 2 directors with 2 of my favorite horror movies of all time that I consider perfect. You will not hear me use the word perfect or perfection to describe a movie on this channel more than like maybe the fingers on one hand. You just won't. There's no movies out there, like more than like a handful, like 5 maybe, that I consider absolute perfection. And this is one of them. So, all right, guys, John Carpenter's The Thing is finally knocked out, which means I'll have to do the prequel soon or eventually, which I highly enjoyed the prequel. And the biggest issue for me, like it was for many people, is the CGI. And they had practical effects and everything in that movie and stuff. And the attention to detail and stuff of showing how everything happened at that camp and like how it matches exactly to when MacReady and Copper go over to the Norwegian camp and see the axe and stuff. We get the explanation why the axe is in the wall. Like they loved that. They loved The Thing so much and gave it such special love and attention to detail to make the best prequel they could. And I highly enjoy the prequel. It's just the CGI. And we know that it was all fucked with by the studios and stuff like that, which ruined so many great movies. But I'll talk about all this when I do the prequel. All right, guys, I will see you guys later tonight. I don't know what I'm doing. I have an idea, but whatever it is, I'll see you guys then. Have a great night.